Yeah, hello, good evening. How are you today? I hope your week started very well. Last week, we ended the week with a very sad news, the death of Osinachi, the popular gospel artist, female Nigerian gospel artist, how she was killed, well, out of possibly ignorance and whatever, religion or her own decision. So I wanted to share briefly today on still on domestic abuse because apparently a lot of women, Nigerian women, don't know when they're in an abusive relationship, and I decided to start talking. I've been talking about these things, of course, as a lone voice. But right now, you see, this is claiming a lot of lives. So it's really important that more people get educated about violence, about domestic abuse, partner abuse. And domestic abuse is beyond physical abuse. What happened to Osinachi was physical abuse and a little bit of financial abuse. And I want to also believe she was experiencing some psychological abuse in that relationship from the things that have been said about her relationship with her spouse. So I just want you to know that domestic abuse goes beyond the physical because right now everyone is shouting, if they beat you, if they are hitting you there, do this and do that. It goes beyond physical abuse. Beyond that, we have if you can be abused in your marriage or your relationship financially, you can be abused emotionally, verbally, psychologically. You can be abused physically, which is the one that everyone identifies with. Because when women run out of those homes, people are asking, did he beat you? What did he do to you? As if that's the only type of abuse, that exists. So we have financial abuse, we have psychological abuse, we have the physical abuse, which everyone, that is very common. We have sexual abuse. You can be married and you're being abused sexually. I'm going to be coming to share about each of these areas of abuse so that people can know, when they're being abused in their relationship, in their marriages. You can be sexually abused, okay? And you can be spiritually abused. So these are the five main types of abuse, of domestic violence cases, that people need to be aware of so that when you're in that relationship and any of these things is happening to you or a combination of any of these ones, you can easily, recognize the one that you're managing, to know what you need to do. So it is not only when, they've slapped you, they've kicked you, they've pulled off your hair, and they've tried to stab you that you should know that you're in danger. If you have if you find yourself in any of these things I've mentioned, I'm going to be breaking them down, as the days unfold. But today I want to zero in on financial abuse. Okay, I've listed like five, but today I'm going to talk about financial abuse. How do you know? How do I know I'm in an abusive relationship? How can I recognize that I am in a relationship where I'm financially abused? Because a lot of women are in relationships where they're being financially abused and they are not aware. So if you've joined this session, please share, hit the share button and share with your friends, other females, because I really want females to become aware of some of these things that, we manage, and people tell us to go and pray about. So, number one, if you're in a relationship where your partner um, tells you not to work, You were working before you married him, and after marriage, he starts having problem with that work, and he starts discussing the need to stop that work or stop the business. You're being financially abused if the reason why you're stopping that work is not by mutual consent. I understand that some couples, for certain reasons, can agree that the woman should step aside from her job for some years for whatever reason, between them. If you are against your will being forced to stop working, because I know a lady, one of my neighbors in the place where I used to live, her husband, he wasn't even living in the country. He was, somewhere else, married to a foreigner. And the wife and the two children were here in Nigeria. And this man, all the way from where he was living abroad, was controlling the wife in Nigeria and stopping her from working. All the years that lady, she's a graduate, okay, she finished her youth service. And after her youth service, the company where she worked wanted to retain her, and the man refused. And it was really initial, it was so amusing to me because I didn't even understand why she had to call her husband to ask him if she has to take the job. Every time she calls him to discuss the job with him, because she was getting a lot of contacts, people were calling her. And I think she read something in IT, some tech course, they needed her skill. But her husband refused her from working all the companies where they were calling her. And it wasn't even, excuse me, it wasn't as if the man was sending her enough funds for her upkeep. He wasn't sending enough money for her to live on. And she felt she needed, something to add to what the man was sending to her. But this man refused to let her work. And of course, she obeyed, which I think is really foolish. I think that people who do these kind of things, they have not, understood themselves. You know that you're suffering. You know that the finances you have with you is not enough, is not taking care of you. And you just decide to not to work, because that's how I look at it. That man is living in another country, all the way from there. He's telling you not to work. And he works. He's working. He's enjoying another woman there. And he tells you that you should not work. I think that's really selfish. So a lot of women find themselves in this situation, this scenario that I've painted here. You see graduates, um, people who did very well in school, they left school, they had some goals, some aspirations, and after they got married, their husband tells them to stop working. Maybe they were working before, or not to work. If you're in that kind of marriage, just know that you're being financially abused and you're living with a man who is insecure. Okay, that's what happens when a man is insecure. He believes that because some men feel that when a woman starts earning, she is no longer going to listen to their husband. She's no longer going to submit to them. I don't even know, this submission theory has really destroyed the minds of many people. So that is one case. Okay, that is one case. If you're in that relationship, just understand it today that you're being financially abused. The man does not want you to have money. He does not want you to have anything to your name. Then we have others who, they've asked you to resign. This, you still fall into that same category. They asked you to resign, and it's not by mutual consent. It is the man insisting against your will. He doesn't want you to continue in the job. And this kind of men, another thing I noticed about this kind of men They are always following up on their wives. They are always snooping around them. They always think that there is something she's doing in her workplace. They're always accusing such women of sleeping around. These men are insecure. See, if you have a man who is always snooping around you, he's always going into your bag, he's always checking your phone, he's always, you're on a call with someone, he's hanging around, he's uncomfortable, you're in an abusive marriage. You're living with a man who is insecure. If any of these things that I have described, you have seen it in your marriage, just know that you're living with an insecure man and you're also experiencing domestic abuse in that place. Domestic abuse is anything that takes away your freedom, anything that is trying to remove your freedom from you. You can't function normally when your husband is around. You're moving around like cockroach. You're moving around like cockroach. You don't want him to know. You're hiding a lot of things. You're not free. You are already suffering from financial abuse there. But sorry, yeah, you're suffering from domestic abuse. But like I said, today I'm focusing on financial abuse. So the first point I've made here is he doesn't want you to work. He doesn't want you to have money. He's always looking for, and I don't know, women don't really understand, because the men are so strategic. The men that do these things, they are so strategic about it that a lot of times these women don't even know that that's what that man is doing. The man will keep telling them other things, trying to shift their focus, in another direction. But the real problem there is that that man does not want you to have money. He does not want you to earn anything. He does not want any kobo to your name. So quickly, on this other point, this kind of men, the moment you have money, they notice that you have money in your accounts. They are the ones that will always find a reason to collect that money from you. If you're living with someone who he's always, anytime you tell him that you have money, or anytime he notices that you have some money, maybe some bulk money entered your account, he always comes up with a very interesting story, of a project, of a business idea, of a loan of any form. He's asking you, you just need to understand what I'm telling you, because these are the ways that they're not going to, some of them don't just come to tell you to just give me that money now, give me that money. No, they're not going to. Some of them are very subtle about it. They will tell you things like, there's this project I'm pursuing, there's this contract, there's this business I want to go into. Can you lend me 500,000? Can you lend me 200,000? They know, and it's always, about the exact amount that you have in your account. Just know that that man wants to zero you. He wants to put you on zero. He always wants you to be at the zero level or minus. They don't want you to have money. You are suffering from financial abuse, domestic abuse, but specifically financial abuse. He doesn't want you to have any kind of money to your name. Then I hear of others that in this 21st century, their men have refused them from opening accounts. I heard about that recently. I didn't know that there were still such women in our time that they don't have any accounts. Someone told me that a certain lady that comes to work for her does not have an account, and a lot of times when you ask those women, it is it's always connected to something their husband does not want them to do. A lot of those women, their men don't want them to have an account, because they believe, those men, they believe that when they have an account, maybe another man is crediting the account. They're always coming up with very funny reasons why the woman should not have an account to her name. It's still within this point I'm trying to make, that man is only happy when you are zero. He wants you to be zero. Any money that you need must come through him, must pass through him. That's the only thing that makes him happy. If that's your man, just know that you're, managing a financial abuse situation. Then we have another scenario where the woman is working, okay? They don't stop her, or they were not able to stop her from her job. She does her job, she earns well. Then what happens is that they would convince her, they find a way to convince her to credit them. I know of women that at the end of 30 days in the month, they've worked for 30 days or 20 days, as the case may be. They've collected their salary, and the next thing they do is to transfer the whole money to their husband. And they said it is submission. My dear sister, something is not right. Something is totally not right. Well, some people would say that they have that arrangement. If you have that arrangement and it's working for you, maybe he too, both of you have an account that you have access to. Both of you agree that you want to have joint accounts, okay, where everybody is putting their money, not the one that you are the one. You're the one that sends your own money to his own account that you don't have access to. You're not a signatory to that account. You are still in this category of women that they want to zero. They are zeroing you. They want you to be zero. 0 naira, 0 kobo, nothing to your name, nothing to your account. So you have to understand today that if you're amongst this group of people I've listed today, you are suffering from financial abuse. Your guy does not want you to earn anything. You earn. He doesn't want you to keep the money. He has a way of telling you that, he's better at managing the money, managing the finances. Yeah, so I want to read your comments. If you're watching this video, I want to read your comments. Do you know anybody in your environment? Do you know anybody in your neighborhood? Do you know anybody in your office that is experiencing these things I'm talking about? You need to send this video to them so that they can watch it and understand their problem. Because I've realized that women don't really understand their problem. I don't know if it's the way we're wired or ignorance. I want to believe it's more of ignorance, because if you're interacting with people, yeah, and another thing about, though I'm not discussing that type of abuse today, but let me just mention it now. This type of women with this type of husbands, the men are always overprotective of them. They don't want them to keep friends. So because you don't have the right kind of company, you don't even know what's going on. You don't know what's up. You don't know anything happening. You're not informed. So that's what happens to these women. So if you're watching this video and you know anyone who is experiencing what I'm talking about now, she works, but at the end of the month, the man will collect the money. She sends the money to his account. Then she will have to sign or get approval before she can collect that money. That person is suffering from financial abuse. She's marrying an abuser. And I can tell you that there's so many other things going on in that marriage, because each of these abuse cases, they work. It's not just one that's happening to one person. In the place where you have financial abuse, you may have verbal abuse there. You may have physical abuse. And if it started with financial, others would also be part of it with time. Everything begins to happen with time. The way these things happen is, once you allow one to happen to you, gradually the rest of them will start happening, because you've already given control to your abuser. We are the ones that give control to our abusers. So you have to understand now, if this is your situation, okay, that you're going through financial abuse, and it is up to you to stop. funding or giving that money to your abuser, because as a human being, you should have your own money. You have your own needs. You have your own family issues that you need to also sort out. Okay. Then I've talked about the people that are stopping from working, the people that they are taking their money, they let them work, they're taking their money, you know, and the people that they've asked to resign. Yeah, so if any of these things is happening to you, you're suffering from financial abuse. Then another scenario is he spends money on himself, looking good, dressing well, buying the latest cars. He takes himself for vacation. Every year he's changing his car, looking better. And none of these things is happening to you. Okay, he buys for himself, he doesn't buy for you. He's not changing your wardrobe as fast as he's changing his own. He's changing his car every year. He's not doing same for you, or he's not even allowing you to drive those cars. He's just living well, living large, and it's not happening on your side. You're going through financial abuse there, okay? You got to know this. You're going through financial abuse. So you need to know what to do. Either you don't have your own money, because this kind of people, this kind of ladies that this happened to, they don't have their own money. So the guy is totally in control. He's the one with the money. He's the one making all the money. He doesn't want you to work. He stops you from doing your business. And even if you're doing any form of business, maybe it's some business that you may not be earning much, at the end of the day, he's even in control of your account. He tells you to give him accounts of the business. You have to keep on making accounts, presenting these accounts to him. If you're in this kind of relationship, financial abuse is your story. That's what's happening to you. Okay, you need to do something about it. You need to do something about it. You need to wake up from that problem and put a stop to it. Okay. Yeah. So another scenario here is, I've heard stories of people that said they want to do operate joint accounts, couples. In the beginning, when the love is shaking them, they said they want to start joint accounts. I've also heard financial abuse can also happen in that situation, because I've also heard of cases where they started the joint account. The woman is funding the account, the man is also funding the account. With time, the man stops funding the account. Then all the man is doing is debit. All the money is reducing. With time, the account is reduced to zero. All these are ways, of trying to take your money. This your abuser that you have not recognized is just looking for any way to reduce you to zero. I just need you to get this. That's what I want you to understand. The aim is to reduce you to zero level. So there are different strategies. And we women, we're always very gullible. I think women are gullible. We need to develop critical thinking. We need to learn how to be smart. We need to learn how to quickly spot our problem and where it's coming from. This whole strategy is all about reducing you to zero, and you should never allow that to happen to you. So when there is this discussion of joint accounts where you guys started putting your money together, then along the line, one party, stops funding that account, but it's the party that is drawing on the account more than you. You're the one, you now continue, because women, we always want to build. You continue funding. Let me just keep it there for my children. Something, we can do something with it. Then all you're getting, debit. My dear, it's time to switch on your thinking cap. Something is not right. Okay, something is not right in that arrangement that you guys have. Then close to this one is, I've also heard of scenarios, cases where the man took loan and the woman did not know about the facility. You go and take a loan and put your wife's name there. Sorry, I think that is fraud, though. I think that is fraud, if you ask me, because I'm a banker to the core. It is fraudulent to put the name of your spouse without their permission on a loan facility. So they put the name of the woman there without her consent, without her knowledge. And a lot of times, these loans they are taking is supposed to go bad. They didn't plan to pay back. Okay, they didn't plan to pay back. And when these facilities are out there, for whatever purpose that the person took it for, he didn't consult you, they just sign for you or have a way of putting your name in that facility that you don't know anything about. That's still a strategy to zero you. Because when the debtors come, they will see your name on the forms. And when the loan goes bad, they are going to come for you. Okay? So those are still some strategies that abusers are using, to control their women, to keep them, in a zero position. Yeah, to keep them at the zero level. So that is still part of financial abuse. So if you know anyone who is going through these things I'm sharing here today, please, you need to share this video with them so that they can understand where their problems are coming from. Okay? Then another scenario is, this is the last point I'm going to make. He does not spend on you and on the family, okay? He has the money. He's making the money. People around him see him as Obi Kubana, Omego one of his kindred. He's sharing the money. People around him can see this money. Some people are even enjoying the money. But you, that you're living with him, you're not seeing the money. You're not feeding well. You're not clothing well. Your children's fees are not being paid. A lot of bills, a lot of your personal things, the things that you need to run the house are not in place. But everybody sees him as Obi Kubana. Sorry, I'm not saying that Obi Kubana is doing this. I'm just, Obi Kubana is someone we know that has money. He has abundance of it, okay? And your man, you're living there, you're not enjoying this money. Your life is wretched. Your children are suffering. You're not getting enough food to eat. You don't have enough resources in the house to run the house. Financial abuse is your name, okay? You are being financially abused. So these are the few points that I wanted to bring out today, because Osinachi's death has really opened the eyes of many more people. I hope really that people have learned from this. But I don't want us to lose sight of, the different aspects of domestic violence that people can experience. Physical abuse is one. Financial abuse is yet another one, the one I'm talking about today. I'm also going to come on to talk about the other types of abuse, that people are managing and why we should not manage these things. So financial abuse is today's focus, and these are the few points that I've decided to share today. So please share this video. I'm waiting to read your comments. If you know anyone who is experiencing any of these things, send this video to them. You can inbox me. You want to talk about it, okay? Drop something to me. Go to my messenger and drop a message for me. I'll pick it up and we'll take it up from there. So thank you for watching. Have a lovely evening and enjoy the rest of the week. And please share this video, share to every woman so that we can continue to educate ourselves about these things. Thank you and bye.